So the way I describe this lamp is a mid-century modern floor or tower lamp. This particular piece, again, it being mid-century modern, it's also kind of styled after some of the Japanese lamps that you see that have the rice paper that are, again, more of like a floor or tower lamp. So the characteristics of mid-century modern are a lot of it goes into material, but also the general look of it. It stemmed out of a school or German school called Bauhaus, so it was kind of a departure from some of the early American, very ornate, overly designed furniture pieces. So again, as you see, very simple, clean lines, really more emphasis on shape and line rather than the detail of the work, even though there are subtleties worked in here that are accents that contribute to the overall design. Again, really more of just a kind of a clean, kind of democratic form. This lamp would best be served around, I would say, a gathering or a lounging area. It is more of an accent lamp. You would not necessarily be using this as a reading lamp. It is a floor lamp, so more of an accent piece next to a lounge chair or couch in a living area or communal space. So a lot of the joinery on this was actually dictated by the way I wanted to construct the legs or adhere the legs to the stretchers in the center here. We have a countersunk socket screw on here that is actually plugged by a brass dowel. So it was important that the countersink as well as the through hole were centered on one another. So all of the joinery you see on this piece is done using a dowlet jig. The dowels that run the length here that adhere the legs to the stretchers, as well as the way that the legs are connected to the feet down at the base here. So the bulb we used for this was just a standard 60-watt bulb that is modeled after the common incandescent bulbs. Again, we chose the LED bulb for its length and life. That way you're not looking at changing the bulb as frequently as an incandescent, as well as the type of light that it permeates as opposed to the incandescent. It's a little warmer, gives a little bit different feel and glow in conjunction with the material that's used in the shade. You can still change the bulb, so the point of this project was to also be able to disassemble it. It didn't start that way, however, in its design there were elements that needed to be removed in order to change the bulb. So at the top of the lamp here, you do see the brass plugs. These are removable on the top and throughout on the legs. There are threaded inserts on the stretchers and are connected by socket screws. Use an Allen wrench to remove your socket screw, and this stretcher slides out through the top. And the way that this shade is rested is just in a groove that is the same diameter as the shade. So that way you can have full access to the bulb here in the center. So the shade is custom made for this particular lamp. There's a few different components that are involved in making a lamp. So you do need your outside fabric of your choosing. Typically you want something that is kind of like a semi-trans or semi-opaque that is going to allow light to permeate through it. There's also a structural element and diffusing element to it. So the underlayment or material for the lamp is an adhesive back styrene that is applied to the fabric and then rolled, and then the joint is created by using fabric glue. And then at the top, as well as the bottom, there's another structural element where there is a metal ring that is created and then put in place. The fabric is then tucked around that ring and then tucked up underneath to give you a nice clean seam at the top and bottom, but also contributing to its rigidity. So the fabric on this lamp is considered a utility fabric. There is a little bit of heathering or multicoloration going on in here. It's very thin, as you can see. You can't tell that the adhesive styrene is in the back, but again, I thought it was a material that just worked really well with the warmness of the wood that we used. It just kind of gave her a nice contrast, and again, I think it really helped diffuse the light the way that we wanted. So the hardware that's involved with this project are, of course, the brass pegs. They're all 1/2 inch. They are cut to different lengths just on the relationship to the thickness of the way that these legs taper. On the insides of the stretchers here, there are flanged threaded inserts on the 3 connection points. There are socket screws that are actually adhering the legs to the stretchers. You'll notice down at the base, we have 1/2 inch copper tubing that allows the cord to run up into where the socket is. We did create a brass coupler that is created by a 3/4 inch piece of solid brass tubing that we milled and then threaded. It actually just rests right on top of the conduit. There's a set screw to apply that to the conduit. And then there is a socket nipple, and then there's a socket that sits on top of that, which the bulb in place goes into. Then you'll also notice at the base that there is a fabric cord from Sundial Wire. It's a little more of a period style. You can order the length. You can also order or specify where you want the inline switch on the bottom to be in the relation of where the socket is and where the plug-in is. So there's a lot of customization that's involved with doing that specific cord.